This is a quick introduction to the Ear Trainer apps. In order to be able to open the apps first time, you may have to allow the opening or even the app download once in the security section of the system preferences after downloading. Ear Trainer is an application that consists of 3 components: Interval Trainer, Triad Trainer and Tetrad Trainer. The basic functions and settings are the same for all 3 programs. Let's take Interval Trainer as an example to go through all functions and settings. Many of the functions in the user interface can also be accessed from the menu bar under Extras. There you can also see the respective shortcut, which is the most practical way to use the application. Before we start, let's first call up the settings window, which you can alternatively launch by pressing the comma key. In the sound section you can choose between an internal sound source, this is the internal synthesizer on a Macintosh computer, and an external sound source. This can be any MIDI instrument in a DAW running in the background or a connected hardware MIDI instrument, such as an electric piano. It is recommended in any case to select an external sound source for better sound quality. Clicking on New Interval generates an interval that can be determined by clicking on the tabs. Alternatively, hit the spacebar for generating a new interval. If you are right, a green dot will light up and the value of the green digit will be added by 1. If the interval is incorrect, a red dot will light up and the value of the red digit will be added by 1. If you want to hear the same interval again for another attempt, press repeat or press the R key on the computer keyboard. By the way, you can do this as often as you want, even before you determine the interval. You can reset the counter by pressing the reset button or the X key on the computer keyboard. If you want to get the resolution of the interval to be determined, press the solve key or the S key on the computer keyboard. The lag slider determines the time interval between the 2 notes of the interval. If the lag slider is turned all the way to the left, both notes of the interval are played simultaneously. By default, the 2 notes of the interval have a maximum distance of 1 octave, but it is possible to extend the octave range up to 4 octaves. Initially, all intervals listed in the tab are included, but you can also practice intervals in isolation. This includes, for example, the juxtaposition of complementary intervals or minor and major sixths, which are often mixed up. In the preference window, the length of the individual notes can be set. It might be good practice to play each of the notes in very short length. In addition to determine the intervals on the fly, it is also possible to make dictations. Intervals can be generated automatically with the auto switch or by pressing the A key on the computer keyboard. In the repeat window you can set the number of additional repetitions for each interval. For example, if you enter a 1, each interval will be repeated once, that means played twice. With the speed knob you can adjust the time interval in which the intervals are played automatically. After playing a series of intervals that you have noted down elsewhere, you can now check the resolution of all played intervals by double-clicking on Solve. By clicking on the documentation link or the D key on the computer keyboard, all functions and shortcuts are available as an overview. The Triad Trainer contains the same operating functions as the Interval Trainer. With this application you can practice to recognize different types of triads, such as major, minor, diminished, augmented, sus2 and sus4, in root position as well as first and second inversion. Here again, certain groups such as chords in root position or only diminished and augmented chords can be isolated. The Tetra Trainer, with the same operating functions as the Interval and Triad Trainer, trains the recognition of 4-part chords such as major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, half diminished and diminished chords in root position as well as first, second and third inversion. Here again, certain groups such as chords in root position or the juxtaposition of only half diminished and diminished chords can be practiced independently.